Please repeat after me. Vishwarupam harinam jata vedasam
Vishwarupam harinam jata vedasam
Parayanam jyotirekam tapantam
Parayanam jyotirekam tapantam
Sahasrarashmihi shatadhavartamanah
Sahasrarashmihi shatadha vartamanaha
Pranaha prajanamudatyesha suryah
Pranaha prajanamudatyesha suryaha.
So again, staying with the meaning of Surya, Vishwarupam, same as we saw last time, the thing that reveals the form of everything. Harinam, that means having rays. So it has rays. Also, it is used for haran, taking away. So it takes away water from everything it shines on. So therefore, also harinam. Those rays are called harinam because the rays take away water. Um, Not the rays, but the rays are called harina, and the sun is also called harina because it has the rays. Then Jat Vedasam, that which is found in everything that is born. That means all life owes its existence to him, and you therefore you can say that the sun exists in them. Parayanam, that which is the greatest support for their life breath. Jyotihi ekam tapantam, and it is just one Jyoti, Prakash, the origin of illumination, which is also giving out heat. Tapantam. Ek implies here just that one sun, and there is no other sun. Sahasra Rashmihi, it has 1,000 rays. By thousand again, we don't mean 1,000 as is counted, but innumerable number of rays, infinite number of rays. Shatadha Vartamanaha, that sun is exists in many forms. So all forms are due to him. Therefore, it itself is existing in all these as a form. Pranaha. Now again, we are equating the cause and effect. So the sun itself is called prana. Pranaha prajanam. It is the life breath of beings. Udayati esha surya. This surya, in this way, it rises. This form of sun with all these attributes, this is the sun which rises. Okay, so this is a description of just the sun. Clear? There was one thing which I felt that there was some confusion, that you felt that Aditya was, the sun was also prana. So, see, the sun is also made of matter, and it is an amurta form of matter. So, you must understand it also as a matter too. So, therefore, that is that distinction which I had written in my commentary, that that is one of the reasons why that you can make out that it is a metaphor. So just like you can make out that when I say that this girl is a flower is a metaphor, by the same logic you can make out that Aditya is pran, is a metaphor and is not the real thing. Anyway, it is a metaphor which is following. So as we are seeing in these two stanzas, they are fully attributable to the sun. Okay, now we come to the meaning of the soul. So, when we take the meaning of the soul, then we say that this soul rises in the body. That means it comes to occupy this body, udayate. Agnihi. Agni means that which comes first. Okay, so the being comes into, you call it a being when the soul has entered it. Okay, till then it is matter only. So what matters most is the soul, and therefore the soul is called Agni. Also, Agni is something which gives out light. So because and light is equated to knowledge, and because in this body all knowledge is actually being absorbed by the soul and is being given by the soul, so therefore it is called Agni. Then pranaha, again this is the equation between cause and effect. So since it's actually the soul which brings the body to life, uh, and life at its most basic level is called prana. Therefore, the soul itself is prana. Vishwarupa, this is most interesting. It acquires all the forms of the various beings that it becomes. Okay, so in its journey from the beginning of creation to the end, it takes up many forms, and all those forms are its forms. So it is called Vishwarupaha. In Gita, there is that Vishwarupa form of God which is given, where the Brahmand itself, the universe itself, is seen as being God. There, of course, there is a lot of these things which are shown. All the souls are entering the mouth of Krishna, and etc. etc. But actually, this metaphor of the soul and the body, that is, the body is the form of the soul. This is also applicable for God and the universe. So the universe can be seen as the form of God, as the body of God in a way. Okay, God is more dissociated from the universe than we are. We are getting all our knowledge from the senses which belong to this body, and God has no such dependence on the universe. But on the other hand, when you see this universe, this whole big expanse, this huge thing, then you get an idea of God and his way of functioning. Okay, so that is why I never look upon God as some murti sitting in some temple somewhere or in your own home. When you look at the sky, when you look at the sun and the moon, consider them as God, as a part of God. Okay, coming back to the soul, Vaishwanaraha, same meaning, that which is found in all humans, implying all beings. So this is the soul is the one which occupies all beings, which gives life to all beings. And this is what is said in the next stanza. So now next stanza gives this in greater detail. So the soul is Vishwarupam. We understand that. Now Harinam. Harinam, again, that Haranam, which we saw. So this soul, number one, it is, once it enters the body, it attracts prana. So one of the meaning of Harane is also to attract, not only to take away, but also to attract. So it attracts prana into the body, and it takes away the prana when it is leaving. So it takes it away also, therefore also it is called, that is, a process is called haran, and it is called, the soul is called harinam. Harinam. Harinam only. And then jat vedasam, everything that is a being has a soul in it. So a soul is to be found in every being. Parayanam, it is the greatest support. of a living being. If you take away the soul from the being, then there is no being. It is just matter which you are seeing in front of you. Therefore, it is the soul which is the basis of a living being, the greatest adhar, the greatest ashray, parayanam is the soul. Jyotihi ekam tapantam. This is the soul which is one in every being, which is a jyoti because it brings knowledge into this piece of matter, that is the body, and while generating knowledge in it. Or tapantam, you can even take it literally that it gives it temperature. But it is actually meant as something which also exerts inside the body. So the exertion is finally actually done by the soul on the orders of the commands of the soul, though it is being executed by the body. Sahasra Rashmihi. So this Sahasra Rashmihi Shatada Vartamanaha. This is the same thing what I had told you in the fourth one, that it has like these rays which are there, which extend into the body and occupy by means of prana. They get into each and every cell and live in it. So this Shatada Vartamanaha implies that in many ways it is existing because each cell is different. Your brain cell works in a different way, your cell in the liver works in a different way, and so on. Your blood cells work in a different way. So all these are as if they are ways in which the soul is existing because they are all being enlivened by the soul. Pranaha prajanam. So this it says even more clearly that of all living beings, it is the prana. Again, we are having the cause is being called the effect. So the prana is actually the effect of the soul, but because it is completely dependent on the soul, it is the soul itself is being called prana. So you can say, it is the prana of the prana, the soul. So therefore, you are calling it the prana itself. Here now, Suryaha. Suryaha also has a yogic meaning, which means prerna. So this, it can arise out of two roots. One is Shu prerane and one is Srigato. So Shu prerane, prerna means to, motivate something. So because the soul motivates the body into movement, so it is called Surya. Surya, the physical Surya which is there, that also kind of motivates the beings to wake up, get up, and get on with their work. So that is why that is also called Surya. Then Srigato, it is made from Srigato because the sun moves in the sky. And also, of course, the soul moves from body to body. Therefore, also it is called Surya. So this Surya, it rises in this body, becoming the prana of the prana. That is the essence of these two stanzas.
Beginning interestingly, in this eighth verse, no, the first half is largely in karma
Correct.
position.
Yeah.
Second half is in pratama. So what is the correlation is not clear.
Yeah, even I struggled with that for a while, and I don't think I can give you a very good answer for it. But it says that which is Vishwarupa, Harina, etc., is the Surya. So if you see from the first sentence only, there are some words which are missing. Okay, so whatever is obvious is not said only. This is the way of the ancient texts. They don't say everything. The sentences are not complete in the way that we understand. Parts of it which are clearly understood are left as it is. So like for example, if you see the first one, Sukesha, etc., एते ब्रह्मपरा ब्रह्मनिष्ठाः परम ब्रह्मान् अन्वेषमाणा एषः वै तत्सर्वं वक्षयति. te tat chintitvantah. That is not written. So they said or they thought is not written. It is understood. They said to each other that this is the guy who will be able to tell us, solve our problems for us. And so similarly here in the first two lines, everything is being said, it is like this, it is like this, and that which is like that is the one which rises in the body. Okay.
Astu, astu. Though here in the Samskrita Vyakya, some kind of Vijñātavantah Brahmavidah Vadanti iti सूचितमस्ति परन्तु
परन्तु श्लोके तु एवं नास्ति.
आमामां तत् अध्याहरणमेव.
Okay. So any other problems are there? Any other doubts? Okay. So this this section now of direct comparison of the sun or the description of the sun is now closed here. But the metaphor of the sun continues in another way. Okay. And even Prajapati now is roped in. So you have, please repeat after me. Samvatsaro va prajapatis.
Samvatsaro vai prajapatis.
Tasyayane dakshinam chottaram cha.
Tasyayane dakshinam chottaram cha.
Tadye have tadishtapurte.
Tadye have tadishtapurte.
Kritam mityupasate te.
Kritamityupasate te.
Chandramasameva lokam abhijayante.
Chandramasameva lokamabhijayante.
Ta eva punaravartante.
Ta eva punaravartante.
Tasmadetarishayah prajakama.
Tasmadetarishayah prajakama.
Dakshinam pratipatyante.
Dakshinam pratipatyante.
Yeshaha vairayir.
Yeshaha vairayir.
Yah pitrayanaha.
Yah pitrayanaha.
So first she says samvatsaro va prajapatihi. That Prajapati himself is samvatsar, or rather actually it is saying that the year, samvatsar is equal to the year. So the year itself is Prajapatihi. Okay. So let us take first the most obvious meaning, that is the year is God. Okay. Tasya ayane dakshinam cha uttaram cha. It has two parts. Okay. One is the southern part and one is the northern part. Tad ye have. So you split Prajapati into two parts. Okay. One is the southern part and one is the northern part. Tad ye have. Tad ishtapurte kritam iti upasate. Then those who think that if I do some good deeds, then those are the things which were to be done, and that is it. I have achieved the goal of my life. What kind of deeds? Isht and apurta or purta also it is called. So Ishta and Apurta, two kinds of deeds are there. Isht is performing yajnas and other things which are prescribed by the Vedas. Okay, yajna is a very particular Vedic karma, which by itself seems very stupid to do. That you put things in the fire and burn them and finish off good stuff which you could have used for other things. Unnecessarily you're putting milk and rice and all that into the fire of the Havan, it makes no sense at all. But the Vedas are telling us that it makes a lot of sense and it does a lot of cleaning of the atmosphere and even the soil and the rainwater. So, therefore, it should be done. So, all those Vedic dharmas, which are not obvious at all, particularly performing yajnas, is called Ishta karma and apurti. Apurta karma is that which is done as paropakar for the benefit of others, altruistic deeds. So, for example, building a well, building a school, building a hospital, all those are considered as apurta karma. So, both are considered good good karmas to be done. So those of us who believe that this is what should be done, this is the dharma, this is what I should do, and they finish off with that, then they attain the Chandra Loka. Okay, Chandra Masam Lokam. So they attain the lunar world. We will talk more about this. Just let us look at the remaining part as well. Te eva punaha avartante. They only come back again into this world. Okay, so those who perform deeds like this, which are good deeds, which are worth doing, they will take birth again and again. They will come back again and take birth again. Come back again where? Into a body. After having conquered the lunar loka. तस्माद् एते ऋषयः प्रजाकामाः दक्षिणं प्रतिपद्यन्ते. Because they come back, that is why these sages who desire for offspring, they attain the southern path, the southern track. Esha have raihi yaha pitrayanaha. And this southern track is the track of rai, of material enjoyments. And it is called Pitra Yana. Pitra plus Yana, that is the way of the forefathers. Okay, so these souls which want offspring, they themselves become forefathers, and so that line continues, and they come back again and again, taking birth as beings. Okay, so there are several things which we need to unpack over here. So one is this Chandramasam Lokam. So this lokas in our tradition are divided primarily into three. Okay, this is Dyuloka, Antariksha Loka, and Prithvi Loka. So Dyuloka is the solar region. Prithvi Loka is the planetary region, and Antariksha Loka is the interstellar space and the inter planetary between the sun and the earth. That space, all those spaces are called Antariksha Loka. Okay, but here we are looking at the lunar world. So there are other worlds which are defined. Anywhere where souls can exist, they are called lokas. Okay, so here this lunar loka. Now we could go with the easy meaning, which is obvious, which says that the loka of consumption, which is what we saw from the beginning, that Rai was equated with Chandrama, and therefore they return to this Chandralok. They conquer it in the sense that they get a lot of good things to consume. So, what it is implying is that if you do good deeds, then there will be a lot of sukha in your life instead of dukha. While if you don't do these deeds which are mentioned, ishta and apurt, then your life will have less happy things to consume, and you will have to suffer more. Okay, so one is that meaning which we can accept as is. The other meaning which I have found in many other places as well is that those who do a lot of paropkar and do lead a very almost saintly life, they actually go for a period on the moon, at which time they enjoy only happiness. Okay, there is no sorrow in their existence, whatever kind of existence they may be. And then they return to Prithvi Lok, and then they continue as beings with a mixture of happiness and sorrow in their existence. However, you are free to please reject this if you do not find it acceptable. Then the other thing which I now want to show you is that praja kamaha. Even these souls are now being called praja kamaha. So we saw prajapati where praja kamaha, right? So Prajapati, Praja Kamo where Prajapati we saw earlier. So Prajapati is not the only one who desires Praja. Even we like to produce children and bring them up. And those people, in today's world, everybody kind of says grihasthis are bad and stuff like that. Even this Upanishad is calling them Rishayaha. They were all sages. So, if you are a good grihasthi who lives not only for your own family but for society as a whole, you are involved with, and you teach and you donate your time, money, effort, whatever you can, all those things, then being a good citizen, being a good parent, all those make you a rishi as well. So, that is a very, very desirable and very good way of living. There's nothing wrong with it. So these are also called rishis. And but however, when you look at the two goals of life, then this is the southern goal, the one which is a lower goal, all said and done. Even though it is a great goal, but yet it is a southern goal. Now, this southern business, this samvatsara, that is the year. Okay, if you look at it in terms of the sun's orbit, then the sun's orbit, at some point it goes up in the sky, and at other times it goes southwards. Okay, so from winter solstice to the summer solstice, the sun is in an upwardly direction in the sky, and from the summer solstice to the winter solstice, it moves in a southerly direction. So in our tradition, the first is called Uttarayan, and the second is called Dakshinayan. That means when the sun is moving up in the sky, it is called it's moving towards the north, Uttar. Then it is called the northern track of the sun, and when it is moving towards the south, that is Dakshin, then it is called the Dakshinayan. Okay, so the year is divided broadly into two parts, Dakshinayan and Uttarayan. And of them, the Uttarayan is a better track because the sun is gaining in power, and in the Dakshinayan, the sun is losing power. Therefore, it is considered subordinate to Uttarayan. Okay.
So why did they say that Prajapati is Sanvatsara? Yeah,
the
year Sanvatsara is Prajapati.
Thank you for bringing that point up. So, see here, Prajapati, as I told you, Pati means the protector of. So here what the sage is telling us, that the year itself is the protector of Praja. So for beings, if you really think about it, the year is very important for their existence. Just imagine if the sun stayed in the same place in the sky all the time. Firstly, you would have no distinction. You will not be able to figure out time. One of the main ways in which we figure out time is by the motion of the sun and then the motion of the moon, two heavenly bodies which really affect us. So not only do they determine time, they lead to rains, which give us food. For our own diurnal rhythm, it is very important. So all this movement in time, the change in the seasons, the change in this Uttarayana and Dakshinayan, all this leads to the growth of beings from plants to humans. It is important for all beings. So that is why it is the year itself, this demarcation of time called a year itself is a protector of beings. So therefore it is called Prajapati. Okay.
So Uttara, can we also take it that here this Samvatsara doesn't really, doesn't have a narrow meaning of, okay, we say this is Ritu Samvatsara or we have the name for a year. So it's not a static thing, but it is referring more to the dynamism or the rhythmic change that comes with the year.
Yes, yes.
So
it is a generic year. By Samvatsar, you should not you should not understand this particular Samvatsar with this name. See, there also you are naming every year. But so the generic meaning is year only. Okay. We are able to handle a lot of knowledge. So we give.
Even in that year, I am saying that by the year as understood here is not something that is static or referred to as 1 year from this date to that date, whatever be it. But it's more into the churning of the season, the time, the everything, the southern, they're moving from the southern to the northern hemisphere, whatever it is. So it's more of a dynamic thing that he is referring to rather than it being referred to as something very static.
I'm not very sure I'm getting your point, because if you look upon time as a line, then you are splitting it up into years. So if you want to look upon it as static or dynamic, it's up to you.
Okay.
But you are moving in terms of time.
Okay. It's
a demarcation of time from one point to another point, where then the cycle repeats, kind of, in terms of Uttara and Dakshinayan. In this particular case, further demarcations come later down in later stanzas. Okay. Then I also have to quickly tell you about this Pitrayana. So there are two paths which are mentioned for human beings in particular. Human beings are the ones who have great control of their destiny. No other animal has actually got a control on their destiny. They cannot determine, I will take this path, I will do this, and I will not do that. Okay, that option does not exist for them. They work instinctively. So they will do things as almost God has programmed them to behave. Okay, we also have an instinctive part which God has programmed into us, but there is a huge part which is determined by the soul, and the soul has independence to go this way or that way. So those parts have been split into two. Okay, one is called Pitrayana and one is called Devayana. Okay, so Pitrayana is what is being discussed here. The next stanza will talk about Devayana. So Pitrayana is the one in which we lead a good life, and that is a benevolent life for everybody. We are good citizens of society, and we lead a normal life in the sense that we produce offspring, and we do our daily duties towards them, towards society, towards the environment, by performing yajnas, etc. So we perform ishta and apurt karmas. So we are not talking of people below this level. Okay, for spiritual seekers, a level below that of people who perform crimes or something like that, that is, you can call it tiryakyana, but it is not even, they are behaving like animals for all practical purposes. They are giving in to their baser instincts, and they are not controlling themselves and doing what they understand to be dharma. So that is those who perform dharma are said to follow the Pitrayana, which is also a very respected path, and that is why we respect our forefathers, and we also wish to become like them one day. So that is Pitrayana. Now we shall say our prayers. We have some time left. If somebody has any questions, we can take up one or two.
Yeah, Uttara, just continuing on what Shanta was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Here again, the Samvatsara is also in a parallel, Upama, if I have to say, to the human life itself, right? It is again just equating human life to the time where the kids take you to the Pitruyan, and next probably he will relate us to Devyan, what you need to do, the things that you do.
Correct. So I will come back next time when we finish the next stanza. Then we will come back and see it in more detail. Put these two things together. Okay. Okay. Please repeat after me. Om Shraddham Pratar Havamahe.
Om Shaddham Havamahe.
Havamahe.
Shraddham Madhyam Dinam Pari.
Shraddham Madhyam Dinam Pari.
Dinam Pari.
Shraddham Suryasya Nimruchi.
Shraddham Suryas Nimruchi.
Shraddhe Shraddha Payehanah.
Shraddhe Shraddha Payenah.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Dhanyavadaha.
Dhanyavada, dhanyavada.
Swagatam.
Thank you.
Most welcome.